But I do have a
444.
question. Would Bill Belichick get elected to the Hall of Fame when he's eligible with all the shenanigans that's been exposed and been going on around him of late?
I think so. I think he
Yeah, I
gets
think
elected
so.
to the Hall of Fame unless something came out, and that he,
Yeah,
you know,
he better not do
cheated or
something
something.
totally
Yeah.
egregious.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I mean, if he doesn't do anything totally egregious, but you and and it costs somebody their life or something to that extent. Yeah, I think he'll get into the Hall of Fame.
And it doesn't matter that he is going to be a coach in the college ranks as well. That has no bearings on it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, any coach that has won the amount of Super Bowl titles that he did as head coach, and people can make the
And
argument
games.
about, Brady, Belichick, who was more valuable. That being said, he was the head coach here. He brought in the
20
talent.
years.
He
20
coached. He
years.
developed players. And he won all those Super Bowl titles. So
Anyone, I think he's second in games, only behind Don Shula.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
won more games than anybody else except for Don Shula. That alone, and the 6 Super Bowl
Yeah,
titles,
so,
it's going to get him.
yeah, unless something, as Clay said, egregious or drastic were to occur, I think it's pretty certain that Bill Belichick
What do you
will
think,
be in the
Wayne?
Hall of Fame.
What do you think?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it. With all that's come to light about he did what he wanted to do how he did it. I don't know if he had an egregious with Robert Kraft, what he did to the players. I don't know if those 2 championships that we lost,
Oh
does
gosh.
he owe us something? You know what I mean? It's all of the above. I don't know by
There's 3
making these
championships, two to the Giants and one was to the Eagles.
right, and not playing Butler, and then and now that we've found out that he was seeing this young lady even while he was coaching there, and I don't know if he was cutting off his nose to spite his face, or does he owe the region and us and the Crafts and championship because of what's been come to light how he does things. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
I know it still
Well,
hurts. It still hurts, Wayne, doesn't it?
I think you make a fair point, Wayne. I think it's clear that in his last few years, particularly his last year as coach of the New England Patriots, I think it's fair to say that Bill Belichick was distracted. He obviously didn't have Tom Brady. Clearly was a different mentality than he's used to, and I think he was distracted. Now, that being said, does that warrant not him being in the Hall of Fame because he's in a relationship with a girl that's 40 more than that, his 40 years
Gosh.
junior? But anyway, these are minor details. I don't think that warrants him not being in the Hall of Fame. I think for most, you look at like in the MLB, it's a little different, obviously with the steroids. That's a longer conversation, and that we can obviously get into at a different time. But that being said, in the NFL,
I think he belongs in there.
I think he'll.
I mean, the guy
I think he'll definitely
won,
be in it.
I mean, 11, 10, 11, 12 games almost every season. And I've been looking at these games over the past month. I go back and they got them on YouTube. And I mean, I don't like the guy. I don't even know if I like him as much as you like him, Wayne. And from what I can tell, that's not too high. You know how he's not that high in the team. I mean, we've talked about this, but they won a lot of those games because Belichick was also a very good coach, not just because Brady was a great quarterback, which he was. And even in retrospect, you can see that Brady's a great quarterback, but also Belichick, the formations, the amount of defense packages they have. It's unbelievable what Belichick was able to do when he had the team, and he was a good coach at that time.
Well, okay. Well, you guys convinced me, so I think you flipped me on that one. So, but and I think why they had the mechanic riding with the guys because, like you were saying, the lack of communication, the technology that we have today in racing was not available then. And I know in Formula One, they used to drive through the countryside, so the mechanic was also reading the map to tell the driver where the routes were, where to go. So, but yeah, so it's interesting how it's developed over the years.
Yeah, they had a mechanic riding with the driver. I mean, around the Indianapolis Speedway. I'm just thinking about
Because
it.
a lot of times in back in Formula One era, Enzo Ferrari era, those drivers are losing their lives on the track and the
Right,
road because they were going through countrysides,
Right.
and people on the side watching it were also losing their lives because when those cars went airborne, they just took out anything that was in their path.
right, right. Which is what happened to that guy, Gaston Chevrolet. Later that year, he loses his life in a car accident. So those they were very unsafe at the time. So hats off to them.